Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and today Apple released iOS 12.2 to developers. Now this may come out to public beta testers by the time you're watching this, either later today or sometime tomorrow usually is how it goes. It came in at 2.8 gigabytes for me. Let's take a look at the build number. You can see the build number is 16E5181F, and this particular build actually does add some features, not anything incredible that we've been waiting for. They'll probably push those to iOS 13. So we'll talk about the features, then we'll talk about the bugs that are in this beta, and then battery life, storage, and things like that at the end. So the first thing is support for AirPlay 2 TVs, which they showed this at CES. So if you go into the Home app, in the Home app, tap the little house icon, hit Home Settings, and then tap on your home there. And what you'll see is allow speaker and TV access. So this is new. It allows you to control AirPlay 2 TVs eventually when that comes out. Now they've also redesigned the remote for Apple TV. So if you go into your command or control center here and we tap on the remote, which is right here, you'll see it's now full screen. If I do the same on the previous version, you'll see they've changed it. So it's a little bit of an update there. Another thing they've updated is the Wallet UI. So if you're in the Wallet app, let me open that, and you're on something like Apple Pay Cash, you can see on the left is the old version, on the right is the new one. You can add money, see your last transactions, things like that, and it just looks a little bit better and it's easier to navigate as far as that part goes. They've also updated the screen mirroring icon. So you can see here is the new one. It looks more accurate to me. There's two screens and they're mirrored as opposed to the old one. Also, some people have a new AirPlay icon. I don't have this on my phone for some reason. I tried it on multiple ones, and for some people there's new AirPlay icons. Let me see if it's here, and I don't have it anywhere. So if I was AirPlaying, you'll see down here there's an AirPlay icon. For some people it's a little bit different. For me it's not different at all. So hopefully I'll get that later on or with a different beta. Now if you're using Maps, there's a new option for air quality. So if you go out to here, go into your settings, go down to Maps, and you'll see down here, there's an air quality index button now. So if we turn that on, we'll go into Maps, and I search for Charlotte, and let's see if we can get an air quality index. And it's not showing up. But for some people, it's showing up as far as the air quality goes. I guess it depends on the city you're in, but it should show up for certain cities. Now they've updated the stock app icon for the Mac. So on the Mac, it now matches this, and then while that's not terribly exciting, they have updated Safari a little bit on the Mac as well, as far as it showing dark mode themes automatically. That used to be part of the preview settings on a Mac. So hopefully we see that come across to the iPhone, maybe with iOS 13. But they have updated Safari a little bit. And if the website is not using HTTPS security settings basically, or a security certificate, it will say not secure. So that's something new. And then if we tap here, and I search for Zollotech, for example, you'll see there's some arrows here now. So there's some arrows, and that will bring you to whatever you're looking for. Just tap on that, and it will show you some of the information here. So that part's really nice. Just a little tweak to the UI. There's also a new feature in the Health app. If we go to Health, and then we go down to our health data, at the bottom we have the high heart rate notifications, and we can see that as read information or read only information. So we go to high heart rate notifications, irregular rhythm, and low heart rate notifications. So if you've gotten those notifications, it should show up later as well. Now another feature is Apple News, and this is specific to Canada. So if you're in Canada, you'll now be able to have access to Apple News in iOS 12.2 when it comes out, and it will also be in French and English. There's also signs that they might do a subscription service with Apple News as well, so that would be really nice if you are into using Apple News. I actually don't use it that often, and occasionally when I do, it doesn't really have a whole lot new. So maybe when that subscription service comes and there's magazines in there, like there probably will be later on, they did buy a subscription service for that. Hopefully we'll see that integrated later on. Now for a lot of people, there is a slight change to the modem number. So if we go into here, we go to General and then About, at the bottom you can see modem firmware, and it's 1.04.10 on the XS Max. So hopefully they've updated that for LTE. So if you were having issues with LTE or Wi-Fi, hopefully that's fixing even more issues if you had that. It's hard to say without using it for a little while. Now let's talk about the known issues that are in this particular release. The first one has to do with authenticating different wallet cards. So if you're using the wallet, the Apple Wallet app, and you want to authenticate a card, it may not work initially when you're doing that. You may have to try it over for it to work again. The second bug has to do with purchasing a prepaid data plan when you're using cellular. So if you're in your settings and trying to purchase a prepaid data plan, it may not work until you turn on Wi-Fi. So they've offered that as a workaround. Also, if you're using Xcode and the Safari or simulator with iOS, Siri doesn't work. So Siri specifically won't work in iOS simulators. And that's really it as far as the features. Now, there may be support for AirPower finally built into this. We don't know that for sure, but there's not a whole lot of exciting features. They're probably going to save most of that for iOS 13 when it comes out, or at least is shown in June at WWDC. Now, before we take a look at system storage, let's talk about battery a little bit. We'll go into settings and then go to battery. Now, with the previous version of iOS that just came out a few days ago, 12.1.3, battery life has not been amazing for me. In fact, it was worse than the betas. So I was getting 4 hours and 5 minutes screen on time with about 20% battery life left. Usually before that, I could get 7 to 8 hours of screen on time. So there is definitely something that changed there, and my battery health is at 100%. Now, over the next few days, I'll be monitoring battery. You can't tell in an afternoon what the battery is like on a particular update. You need a couple days for it to kind of normalize and use your phone just to see what it's like. So I'll be checking that, and we'll be doing a follow-up with a YouTube community poll like I normally do. We'll talk about that in a few days. Now, also, those of you that are concerned with storage, let's take a look at that. Prior to installing this, I had 43.7 gigabytes used, and then also 8.49 gigabytes in system storage. If we go into settings, we'll go over to our storage here. And you'll see now I'm using 43.8 gigabytes of storage. Scroll down. And before, this isn't showing system storage. In fact, I'm not seeing it on here at all. I've waited for it to show up. I thought maybe they removed it, but then I checked the 6 Plus and it's actually there. So on the 6 Plus, it's actually using less storage. And now it's disappeared. Let's see if I can get it back. But it was there. Maybe they've removed it. I'm not sure. It's almost like they don't want us seeing system storage now. So it was, there it is, 6.5 gigabytes, but it wasn't there before, and it seems to kind of disappear and reappear from time to time. It's kind of strange. Now, as far as speed is concerned, everything seems nice and smooth and fast right now. 3D Touch is working well. If you're on one of the Plus phones, Landscape is working well. It's only available on the Plus, but it's nice and fast. And even on the 5S, everything is working well. Compared to the previous version of iOS, it does seem a little bit faster when opening apps like Minecraft and things like that. It does seem a little bit better. I'm not going to fully load it this time, but smoothness seems nice. Unfortunately, there's no updates to the iPad, but it does seem nice and fast. And on the 10 or 10S, it's working well also. Now let's take a look at the Geekbench scores. Many of you have asked me about this, and many of you have asked me to actually run a GPU test as well. So let's take a look at that first. And I scored 21,729 on iOS 12.2. This is actually down from the last time I ran it quite a bit from iOS 12. Now, this may improve. It may have been doing some things in the background, so don't take that directly as you shouldn't install this, but it is a beta, and I would warn against that unless you don't mind not having stability on your phone. Now, I ran this twice with iOS 12.2. I scored 4,822 for single core, 11,092 for multi-core. So it was pretty good if we look at the history. So this is the current Geekbench score, and this was the previous one with 12.1.3. So it is improved a little bit, not a ton, but a little bit, and it seems fluid and fast right now. So there's not much more to talk about with this particular update. There's some features and tweaks and things like that, and we'll see if they bring anything new, but I wouldn't expect anything too exciting until iOS 13 is shown, like I said. If you'd like to get your hands on the wallpaper, of course, I'll link it in the description as I always do. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe and like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.